So you got all these wonderful things. How about the negatives? Everything's got a negative, right? How about home devaluation? Now the wind companies are going to point to a Berkeley study done in Berkeley, California. Will you tell me about this Berkeley study? Less than 1% of the homes that they studied were within, I believe it was half a mile, it was more than that, I gotta look it up, of a turbine. Most of them were over 3 miles away. So give me a 3-mile setback any day, right? So homes, residents near turbines lose value. We talked about tile damage, decreased yields, quality of life issues. How about contention with family, friends, and neighbors? Property rights do end at your property line. They are not absolute. If what you do on your land affects my enjoyment and use of my property, that's the basis for a nuisance lawsuit. Turbine decommissioning. So this is from the Center for the American Experiment. So this was Xcel's numbers. Xcel Energy is a utility in Minnesota, right? So this is what they're saying it's going to cost to decommission one turbine. I have a document here of Invenergy's where they came up with a decommissioning plan and obligation cost evaluation for decommissioning wind turbines in McLean County, Illinois. In the contract I was offered, in the easement agreement, it said that after 14 years, they will put money into an account for the amount that they determine it will cost to decommission, take the turbine down and everything, less the scrap value. They will figure that amount out. So when they did this for McLean County, they figured it was going to be $6,600 per turbine. And that was in 2018. So some of these numbers aren't adding up. I think that's something you have to think about. Maybe those people that are signing up for these, your wind ordinance needs to have good language, good decommissioning language in it. We had a wind turbine that burned up just north of me in the Barton Township. So it sat there for quite a long time. I called it Old Stumpy. They can't get parts for it anymore. So they finally, it was well over a year they took it down. Had to get a lawyer involved. They didn't want to go down that 4 feet. It was proving difficult. So they had to get the lawyer involved to get them to go down that 4 feet. Okay, let's see if this works. This is one thing that you will hear. The media, there's been a lot said, and I was part of it, I'm proud to say. There's wind turbine blades being trucked over by Lake Mills, dumped off, run over, buried. You saw them all down there by Ellsworth, those stacks of wind turbine blades along the interstate. Well, now we're being told by the wind companies, oh, they're recycling them. Now we're recycling them. I'm here to tell you it is not happening. It's a media thing. We're being told this. Oh, we're working on this. Now they're doing some of this. It's not being done to any scale whatsoever. Oh, come on, Robert.
Hi, everyone. I've taken a few days off. Lauren and I have been on vacation in Colorado and New Mexico, and now we're driving back to Austin. And we stopped here southeast of Sweetwater, Texas, to look at one of the biggest dump sites for wind turbine blades you will ever see. Standing in front of this sign owned by Global Fiberglass Solutions that says these blades are being prepared for recycling. There's no recycling going on here. Texas Monthly reporter Russell Gold recently wrote an article about this. And I'm southeast of town. This dump site is only one of a couple of dump sites. The other one is west of the city of Sweetwater. The city wants these wind turbine blades removed. The company that owns them hasn't done anything. I've driven by this dump site several times over the last couple of years. There's no recycling happening here. To me, this is just proof that all these claims about clean energy, green energy, renewables, it's just marketing. And when you look at this, you see why it's marketing, because these aren't renewable. It's just solid waste, and it's just sitting here. And in other states, you know, these wind turbine blades are being landfilled. That's what's probably going to have to happen here, but nothing is happening. It's just been dumped. All right, I'll stop there. Follow me on Substack, Robert.Bryce.substack.com. Thanks a lot. See you.
That was Robert Bryce. He has spoken in front of Congress. I am very proud to say that I have been on his podcast and listened to him in person. How do I get out of here? Escape. Okay.
Hi, everyone. I've taken a few days off. Lauren and I have been on vacation in Colorado and New Mexico.
These are just some other pictures. One I took of blades. The next one on the right, that's the up by Lake Mills. So is the one here on your left. The other one is, that is that same company, that Global Fiberglass Solutions. They got a $800,000 grant from Iowa, and all they did was stockpile wind turbines. So that's the Sweetwater, the one that he was just showing. I want you to know this, the DNR does not regulate industrial wind, okay? Neither does the state. It all falls to the local, to your county supervisors. So you would think, you know, the DNR does have guidelines. We in Worth County were able to get the DNR guidelines on the worthwhile project. And I have them here. We highlighted, if they were able to follow what the DNR recommended, there wasn't a spot in that northwest part of Worth County where there should have been a turbine. So just know that. The only thing that they have to follow for regulation is the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, per the Migratory Bird Act, requires these companies to get a take permit for eagles and to allow them to kill eagles. So the company that we're talking about here is NextEra. They didn't get their take permit. So they were found guilty of killing at least 150 eagles. I believe this was in Montana. They had to pay $8 million to them. This was probably just a tax write-off, you know. So there is that. This is again from Robert Bryce. Rural people are standing up and saying, no. This is the renewal rejection database, and look at those numbers. I get calls on a monthly basis from all over the United States of people that are saying, wait a minute, what's going on here? And the companies know this, and it's getting harder and harder for them to cite these things. These companies, they cannot use eminent domain, okay? However, if they sell it to a utility, then the utility can, and with these comes transmission. So the utilities companies can use eminent domain, okay? The wind companies are trying really, really hard to get the control away from the local county governments and trying to get it at the state level. Because they want those legislators that are in the urban areas, they want them to say, yes, put these things up. Because we out here in rural Iowa, we're saying, not in my backyard. So that's all I have. I think I covered what I wanted to. Mr. Gorball, every county should have a Jeff Gorball. I tell you, it has been wonderful. 30-odd pages, you need 30-odd pages in your so I have to up here. If you have any questions, or if you want to look at some stuff, or any questions, fire away. Yes, Nancy.
Setbacks. So if we set a wind turbine that's, let's just say 600 feet tall, back from your neighbor's house foundation, and I was reading an article that a wind turbine can throw a 400-pound chunk of ice 1,000 feet, and it's traveling at in excess of 200, I mean, especially as they get bigger. So the blade measured from the pole is 300 feet, and it can throw that thing 1,000 feet. Am I doing my math wrong? That's 1,300 feet?
I have an equation for ice throw. I don't have it here right now. I do also have a picture of up in Freeborn County of a semi going by I-90 with a big dent in it. I think there's a lot of variables, Jeff, you know, whether it's wind or whatever. I can't speak to that. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but.
I'm just wondering about
Yeah.
setbacks.
Yeah.
It eats it up in a big hurry.
It does eat it up in a big hurry. So the point is, if you've got a blade that's 300 foot long, and from the end of that blade, you can throw a 400-pound chunk of ice another 1,000 feet, mathematically, that's 1,300 feet, right? Simple math. And as Julie said, there's a lot of studies that have been done about ice throw that go into detail of, you know, what is the propensity of ice throw based on geographic areas. Some areas are more inclined to have ice throw than others. The studies have talked about the different types of turbines, the sizes of ice chunks that typically happen, and so on. And all of those things deal with safety. And again, I talked about this with regard to the Worth County ordinance. We didn't use setbacks to try to address everything. We separated shadow flicker. Shadow flicker can be separately mediated. They know where the turbine is, they know where the homes are, they know where the sun comes up every day, where it travels every day, different parts of the year, where it sets. It's simple to just stop the turbine for the simple 30 minutes that they say that it would otherwise cause the flicker. Likewise, noise. We heard folks talking about the noise, and it's a constant, incessant noise. As loud as your dishwasher, or no louder than your dishwasher, maybe. I can hear my dishwasher when it runs. I can hear it over the top of the TV while I'm watching a movie. It's running in the kitchen, but it stops. It doesn't run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Noise is a separate issue, can be separately done. Safety is what I believe, and our zoning commission believed, setbacks are for. So you need to look at how big is it, how far is it going to throw the ice, how far is debris going to fall when it starts on fire, all those kinds of things.
I did measure, I took my little Measure Master wheel, so that fire I was telling you about, it was rather spectacular up there in Barton Township. So the next day I went out there and, oh, the wind turbine workers were out there bright and early to pick up all the shards. I went out, knew the neighbor, measured with my little Measure Master, 2,200 feet. There were shards of burnt stuff. What's going to happen when that's a dry, fall, windy day? I think it's just a matter of time as we're putting up more and more. I would really encourage, since we do have some wind representatives here, I ask over and over again, have a public meeting. And I don't mean a meeting where there's like little stations that you go around. I would like a public meeting where we have wind officials, that we can ask questions, that we can debate. Haven't had a wind company take me up on that yet. Thank you.
I got something I'd just like to say. I'm not with you guys, but I did a lot of research online, driving myself crazy on these issues. But anyhow, one of the guys was in on designing these wind turbines, and I forget the name of the company because I went through hundreds, if not thousands, of websites. But one of the designers said, if you don't want to hear a wind turbine, it needs to be a mile away from your house. And to go along with that, how come in these ordinances, like in Cerro Gordo County, well, you can't build a wind turbine within a mile of a telecommunications tower because it'll interfere with it. But it's okay to build one closer than that to my house to interfere with my life. What is more important, a human life or a communications tower? I got a lot to say.
One thing interesting with the DNR and eagle setbacks.
Yeah.
They recommend 5 miles.
Yeah, and again, to that point, what you're describing is our advancement in the state of knowledge and awareness of these issues. And we can't use a hammer for every nail, right? Setbacks don't solve everything. Setbacks have their place. But if the problem is electrical interference, you deal with that problem because that can be discreetly measured and it can be discreetly addressed. Ice throw, if ice throw is a safety consideration, setback isn't necessarily the best thing. If it's a 300-foot or 1,300-foot potential for the ice throw, well, you don't say, well, we'll just set it back 1,400 foot and everything is good. If ice throw is the problem, solve that problem. Put the technology in the blades that say the blades can't turn if it's got ice on it. The turbines, the blades can melt the ice. When the ice has been shed, then the blades can turn. That problem is solved. We don't need setbacks for that. And that's my point with noise, all of these things. They have to be discreetly addressed, not just smack it with a hammer 2 miles away and everything's golden, because it's not going to necessarily solve it.
I hate to keep asking questions. I hope y'all don't mind, but I know that we want to put these wind turbines in to save the world, but I wonder when we're putting all these wind turbines in, the footings are at least 3 stories deep, re-rod concrete. That never goes away. And we've got, I don't know, we've got our aquifers under there that they'll interfere with. We go down 4 feet because the cabling, the steel cabling, is just under the 4 feet. So that stays forever. Our bats are exploding because of the pressure of the wind, of the air coming off of these things. It explodes them. The list is very long about what we're doing to our wildlife and people, and those things never go away. Are we giving our Iowa land contracts up to have somebody in the Hamptons feel good about saving the world when we're ruining our own lives? I just wonder. I don't know. I mean, there's 1,200 gallons of lubricant up there that catches on fire and just feeds these fires.
What do we do with that lubricant when they change it?
They hide it from us and take rags and sop
What
it up
happens to
and
the airflow that's directed at my house?
changes the airflow and spreads invasive species. I don't know. I just wonder. I mean, that's a U.S. government.
I think that's why we have a drought this year. I'm almost certain of it. So the turbine.
Anybody that wants to ask specific questions or more questions, please feel free to talk to these guys afterwards. But I want to give a huge thanks to, okay, here goes that, Julie. A huge thanks to Jeff, Julie, Shelley, and Nancy.
Ann and Nancy.
Thank you to all of you for your questions and insight. Please remember it's okay to ask the hard questions. In addition, thank you to the Rockford School for the use of the facilities and equipment. We do have a petition in the back asking the Floyd County Board of Supervisors and Zoning to rewrite the industrial wind ordinances, I'm sorry, it's currently a half a page, to increase setbacks, add requirements for lighting, because that, we can set it so the lighting only comes on if planes are in the area. Add legal detection. Clearly there's other things we need to add. Please stop by and sign on if you are in support. Worth County did the work, let's make good use of their knowledge. Also, please consider joining the Facebook group, Floyd County, Iowa Wind Turbine Informational Group. I just set that up recently and hoping that will be a place where you can gather information as far as I'll put the petition on there once I figure out how to do that. You can put project updates on there, county meeting notices, and that kind of thing. I really appreciate everybody taking their time out on a Sunday to come get some information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have some copies of a really good letter. It was written by an absentee landowner.